Very good morning to everyone. My name is Anand and I'm welcoming you all on behalf of Solar Quarter and First View Group. Our today's webinar on Solar Roof Central Africa has brought all of us together on this virtual platform to have insights from some of the prominent industry leaders representing various segments who are actively involved in driving solar mission forward in the region. Hope you had a great time networking with your peers in our exhibition launch. If you have not visited yet, you are definitely missing out the opportunity. However, the booths will be open till 2:30 p.m. today, so you can start networking. Now, I request my team to please play the sponsor video.
From the native land of China to all corners of the world. From the seaside to the mountain tops. From the peaceful countryside to the bustling city. JA Solar is dedicated to the great cause of energy transition and innovation, a great journey that never stops. Driven by the concept of customer first and mutual value, JA Solar continues forging ahead. Dreams give us the power to imagine. Reality keeps us grounded, anchored in the present era and focusing on high-quality green development. JA Solar aims to unbundle the majesty of sunlight emanating in the universe and shapes this infinite energy into a road of new greatness by repurposing it for a higher calling. Beginning in 2005 when it was established, accelerating in 2007 when it was listed on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange in the US, and maturing in 2019 when it successfully relisted on the Shenzhen A-Shares Exchange. JA Solar has written a magnificent history through the powerful currents of those times. Throughout this journey, JA Solar has remained true to its sacred mission: develop solar power to benefit the entire human race. Standing bravely on the tide and pressing ahead on firm footing. After steadily developing and improving over more than a decade, JA Solar has continued to build and perfect an integrated manufacturing chain covering silicon wafers, cells, modules, and power plants, all in an effort to achieve a vertical integration of manufacturing and marketing service systems, from the front-end products to the back-end power generation solutions. Innovation promotes advancement. Excellence produces miracles. With insight sharpened by the rapid fluctuations in the global PV market and adaptability forged by the ever-changing customer demand, JA Solar consistently gets its teams that are never satisfied to pull together and realize a road to stardom in the PV industry. Consistent quality upgrades, interminable cost reduction efforts, and effective process improvements have been the core of our efforts. JA Solar plays an active role in the digital and intellectualized transformation and upgrading, and strives to build a dual mode of intelligent manufacturing and intelligent operation by adopting such advanced technologies as big data, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence, which help to realize intelligent operation and maintenance management and quality control in the production stage, and therefore greatly enhances the security, smartness, reliability, and cost-effectiveness of the operation and maintenance of the solar power station during application stage. On this great journey of bringing grid parity across the PV industry, JA Solar produces premium cells, premium modules, and has developed an independent innovation mechanism by making continuous investment in R&D. By the end of 2019, JA Solar had been issued more than 779 patents based on its leading-edge R&D, maintaining a leading role in driving tremendous development in solar PV technology. On the foundation of leading park cell technology, JA Solar continuously optimizes module types and their component materials in order to keep improving product performance and bring down the overall LCOE for the entire value chain. The next generation of products coming out of R&D are exciting and will further contribute to the industry development. JA Solar's technology roadmap has attached great importance to perfecting the N-type solar cell, whose average conversion efficiency in mass production is estimated to exceed 25% by the end of 2019 fiscal year. JA Solar's cumulative solar module shipments exceeded 45 gigawatts, of which high-efficiency park product has totaled 13 gigawatts, guaranteeing highly reliable components in power plants with different applications, therefore achieving enhanced financial returns for the power station owners. From China to the world, JA Solar is focused on bringing more light and hope to the entire human race, anchored in its foundation to build a road to prosperity within and beyond the borders. For more than 10 years, JA Solar has explored and succeeded to expand the overseas market, establish a global network of support, distribution, and world-class technical service. Presently, JA Solar manages 12 manufacturing sites and over 30 subsidiaries across the globe. Our high-quality products have been sold to more than 120 countries and regions, with overseas shipments accounting for nearly 75% of our overall sales. JA Solar's module shipments rank first class perennially all over the world. JA Solar maintains steady and responsible growth in its global market share. As a reward for its many years of hard work, JA Solar has been on the list of Fortune China 500 and Global Top 500 New Energy Enterprises for many consecutive years. JA Solar has won many awards from respectable international authorities, such as International Leading Brand PV Module Bankability, Global Tier 1 PV Module Supplier, Europe Top Brand PV Modules. These validate JA Solar as the world's leader in the core technology and quality of PV products. We toil and sweat, we smile and persevere. We remain true to our original aspiration and keep our mission firmly in mind. We lay a road of sincerity that goes deep into our customer's heart. JA Solar, core value of putting customers first and continuously improving its service, tirelessly enhancing its quality, and seeking more sustainable production. Every technical process, every finished product, and lot that ships out all bring out the best. JA Solar and its goal of pursuing ingenuity, modesty, and excellence. Driven by a professional attitude of zero tolerance to quality defects, JA Solar carries out real-time and full process inspection on module production, and naturally its module products are accredited by the global certification and accreditation authorities to guarantee zero defects and long-run reliability. JA Solar is focused not only on the successful project-by-project supply, but also on the total life cycle of product, which is supported by its professional capability matrix. Today, in order to grasp the opportunities of the new PV era, JA Solar keeps an open mind and maintains a resolutely international outlook, constantly improving the sales and service network for the global market. JA Solar has played a large part in such monumental large-scale ground-mounted solar power projects as China Datong Photovoltaic Top Runner Power Demonstration Project, China Qinghai UHV Yellow River Hydropower Project, Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, US Utah, Pakistan Punjab, etc. And also played a big role in the world-famous landmarks such as China Beijing's Daxing International Airport, Marina Bay Sands Singapore, the Swedish Royal Palace, Audi Hungary factory, and many others. JA Solar has established strategic partnerships with many top enterprises in the world, while its number of customers across the globe has been over 33,000.
Thank you, team, for playing the video. So before starting today's proceeding, I take this opportunity to thank and welcome our partner for this event, JA Solar. Now, without any further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Victor from JA Solar to give his presentation. Victor, sir, please, you can share your screen. So you are on mute.
Hello everyone, my name is Victor. I'm from JA Solar. I'm the Technical and Marketing Manager for JA Solar, supporting the Africa department. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to welcome you to this exciting event. And I look forward to a fruitful the success of the event. So without wasting time, I'll just go to my presentation. About JA. JA was started in the year 2005. It's a Fortune 500 country.
Excuse me, sir. So
Sorry,
your screen is not. Can you please share your screen?
sorry for that. You can see my screen now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can continue. Thank you.
Okay, let me just start again. Victor is my name. I'm the Technical and Marketing Manager for Africa, JA Solar. I'll just start with the presentation about JA. JA was started in the year 2005. So up to date, we are 16 years old. We are one of the Fortune China 500 companies. And to date, we have achieved a cumulative shipment of 73 gigawatts. And we have 12 global manufacturing bases, meaning that we are in the position to meet customers' demand. Why JA? As JA, we are a reliable partner with international accreditations. As what you've seen in my previous slide, we have been there for some time. We have 16 years, we have experience. We have more than 50 gigawatts field data, meaning that we can support the claims of our data sheet of our product with tested field data. And we have production capacity, which is more than 20 gigawatts. We are also a top bankable brand, and we've been awarded as a top brand PVCL for more than 6 years consecutively. As a company, our core products are wafers, cells, and modules. And we have capacity for cells of 30 gigawatts, modules of more than 40 gigawatts. Number two, as a JA, we are a leader in technology innovations. We are always at the forefront of innovations. We were the first company to supply PID resistant modules, and also one of the first firms in the world to mass produce high efficient monopack multi-bus bus cells modules using the gallium doped technology. Number three, as a company, we have solution for all PV projects, from residential, commercial, and industry, and utility scale projects. I've just showing you a slide introduction of some of our key products that we are pushing in the market. We have what we call the Deep Blue 1.0. This line of solar panels uses the 158 wafers, and it's available in 60 cell and 72 cell. And in this line, we can achieve up to 450 watts, and the efficiency is 21. This product is mainly tailored for the residential and commercial rooftops. And also we have our Deep Blue 2.0, which is using the 166 wafer, also available in 60 cell and 72 cell. And in this line, we can achieve up to 470 watts, and the efficiency is 21.2%. Also, this product is also tailored for residential and commercial rooftops. Also, these two products also are available in black designs. Now, our next product is a Deep Blue 3.0. In this line, this product is mainly targeted towards utility scale projects. This one is using the 182 wafer, available in 72 and 78 cell as a Deep Blue 3.0 Pro. And also in this family, we also have what we call as Deep Blue Late, which is a 54 cell products which I will be highlighting especially for this presentation. So these two products are mainly targeted towards the utility scale market. These are large scale solar power plants. And now for today's discussion, we have a PV solution for rooftops. There's one of the products that I really want to highlight that is really captures all the key points that are considered when you're doing rooftop installation. And in rooftops, we need a product that is compact, that is light in weight, that has a good balance of size and power, and that is compatible with the kind of inverters, solar charge controllers that are used in this space. So as JA, we have a product that is called JM54S30. Is mainly in this family, we push in the 415 watts. Is a 54 cell monofacial product. I forgot to mention in my other slide that all our panels, we have both monofacial and bifacial half cell technology. So in this family, this product is the best in our portfolio that can address the solar rooftop market. This product, as you can see, is it's compact. You can check on the dimension on the right of my slide. It's a 172 mm, 1722 mm by 1134. That means it's compact, and the weight of this panel is less. It also has a very thin frame, meaning that it is easy to handle and it is light in weight for rooftops. And also something else that is very important, this panel has a very good mix of size and power. And by this, you can put many in a container. So that means the transport cost per piece is greatly reduced. If you check also the electrical parameters in combination with the mechanical parameters, it is highly compatible with the inverters and solar charge controllers and other balance of systems that are used to address the rooftop market. So also to highlight, this product has a very good temperature coefficient. It's made of half-cut cells, and it's gallium doped, meaning that we guarantee first year 2% degradation, and then from there linear degradation of 0.55% for the rest of the 25 years. Just to highlight some of the key technological highlights of this panel. The cells are made of 11 busbar technology. That means there's good current collection from the cells, meaning that there's reduction of hotspots and all that. And it's based on the Parcelium cell technology. The cell also is gallium doped. I just want to show just what we mean when we say 11 busbar. 11 busbar, when you put more busbar in a cell, that means you shorten the distance that the current will travel within the cell, meaning that you have high collection of the current and lower resistance. So meaning that at the end of the day, you are getting more yield. And you reduce also, because also is half cell, you reduce the risk of cell cracks in the cell. The other thing that the cells, we are using the round ribbon busbars. It means they increase optical utilization and the module power. And to my next slide, the half cell technology. I would like to highlight here that when you're using half cell, that means you have excellent mechanical load capacity of the cells. That means they can take up more weight, and also they have excellent low internal resistance and good temperature coefficient. Other technical highlight I'd like to highlight here is on the gallium doped. We were one of the first companies to use the gallium doped technology, and this one has greatly improved the effects of light-induced degradation, and we can guarantee this to all our products that the first year, the maximum degradation will be not more than 2%, and the linear after that, it will be less than or equal to 0.55% for the next 25 years. Yeah, and that comes to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful presentation and for setting the tone for today's event. Now, I will move forward with our much awaited panel discussion. So, the topic of our panel discussion for this session is CEOs and government talks, trends, challenges, and opportunities in new era. And in our elite panel, we have Mr. Brayson Hillary from JA Solar, Ms. Elda Manuel from N Global, and she's also the part of the board of the
Thank
member
you.
of Angola Association of Renewable Energy. Mr. Martin from KPMG, Mr. Metkil Ibrahim from Aptec Africa. The discussion will be led by Mr. Tony Teo from Renewables in Africa. So now I have a small announcement for our attendees. If you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A box. Our panelists will take them after the discussion. So now I'd like to hand over to Tony sir to carry this forward. Over to you, sir.
Excellent, Anand. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, because I always like to check that you can hear me, because in this virtual world we don't know, right? So I could be talking to myself for the whole session. Okay, so I want to start by welcoming everybody to the most important week of the year. Yes, it's definitely the most important week of the year. I'm sure you watching me is wondering, so what is he talking about? But let me tell you why it's the most important week of the year. It's actually a week in between two periods of madness, right? High spending. First of all, you have Black Friday, when people will spend like crazy, and you start wondering, so what's wrong with them doing shopping any other day of the week, right? You also have Thanksgiving. And then you have another period, which is Christmas, obviously. Again, people are going to be spending like mad. They're forgetting it's all about praying, right? It's not about spending. And in between those two periods, what do you have? A week of calms, or a few days of calm. So this is probably the thinking that my parent had, more than 4 decades ago now, when they thought, okay, that's the right time to bring Tony up onto this earth, so that I can remind you guys of the importance of those few days, between Black Friday and also Christmas, right? So, and I suspect this is also the kind of thinking that the organizer of this wonderful session were having in mind, because they were thinking, I know, and we know that during those few days, right, Tony going to be reminding people that it is very important to stay calm, collected, think about your investment, think about growing your knowledge, right? And this is a good time to have the session. And they thought, well, and they did the second thing very well. Because let me tell you, my parents, they were actually way too clever for me, I have to say. They were actually thinking ahead of their time. And they were thinking, we want to be efficient. We want to be saving the planet. So what we can do, instead of just giving 2 gifts to Tony, let's just have one for his birthday and one for Christmas. Good idea, right? Well, it depends who you're looking at, right? So for me, it definitely wasn't a great idea, okay? So I can relate with the frustration that people had, because I had that frustration just having just one gift, for both my birthday and also Christmas. So I can relate with some people in the continent when they seen folks like yourself, investors, developers, start talking about growing the market in East Africa, in West Africa, in North Africa, and also Southern Africa. And all of a sudden, they're sitting there, they're asking you, don't you have the impression that something is missing? And some of the people will go, well, obviously Central Africa. So it's just the right thing to talk about Central Africa. That's why I'm saying the second thing that the organizer did well is just to have a session on Central Africa. And I'm very happy we're able to be doing it this morning. And the third thing they did well, they thought about having me talking about leading these very important conversations, talking about the solar space, the commercial industrial space in Central Africa. Probably because they know that I am, or they didn't know that I am from Central Africa, right? So it's an honor for me to be able to do that. Maybe that was a gift for my birthday that were given to me. Yeah, they wanted me to remind you that, you know, right? The center is very important. Think about when you're drawing a circle, you're using your compass, right? You want to start from the circle and all the way you're doing that. But because they were also very clever, right? They knew that they didn't want to make the session a whole story about how frustrated I am just having one gift as opposed to two gifts for my birthday. So they made sure that I have wonderful speakers that can come with me and talk about what are the opportunities, what are the trends, and what is the future for the commercial and industrial space in Central Africa. So it's a pleasure for me to be welcoming my other speakers. So like Anand already mentioned, we have Brayson Kisamo from J Solar, Adam Manuel from Angola, but also ASEA. We have Martin Aroji from KPMG, and also Metkel Abram from Aptech Africa. Unfortunately, one of our speakers couldn't make it for just, I would say, family emergency. And as you know, family always come first. So welcome, dear speakers. So if you're very kind, I'd like each of you to take a couple of minutes to introduce yourself, because people know a little bit about me, but I want them to be comfortable as well with who they will be talking to. And while we're going to have this wonderful conversation this morning, one thing I want you to do, people listening to us, please drop questions, because I'd be a little bit disappointed, a little bit like not me having two gifts, right? I'd be a little bit disappointed if you don't ask questions. This session is for you to get the information you deserve. So make sure that you drop the question, and we make sure that we pick them up as we go through the discussion. So can I start by you, Alda? Because obviously I've been taught to be a gentleman. So, and introduce yourself in a couple of minutes, and after that we move to Metkel, please.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Tony. Actually, I knew what you were saying because I do follow your post, and I've subscribed in your company, and then I know this December is your birthday, so it comes my my birthday wishes in advance. I'm Alda Manuel. I'm electrical electronics engineer by university. I'm doing renewable professionally. I do have around 3 years of experience here in Angola. I'm a project manager at Global, which is a leading company in energy and telecommunications here in Angola. But I also the board member of Angolan Associations for Renewables Energy, which we call ASAER. Well, besides that, I do love doing volunteering. I'm also co-founder and renewables energy project coordinator at Tech Angola, which we do. What we do mostly is just raise awareness of the environment, and I do it with renewables because we all know that the fossil fuels are killing us. And then here and here in Africa, perhaps in Angola, we are still dealing with most of the fossil fuel sites. And I believe because we are going to do the transition, it is nice also to have people educated to know why it is necessary. Besides that, besides renewables, I'm just founding an education platform. It's like from my point of view, I'm in the renewables in education sector. That is Alda Manuel.
Wow.
Thank you.
I have to say, you have so many things that you're doing. We may want to have just a session just all on you, right? So it's going to be like many speakers, but it's other engineer, other education teacher, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So thank you very much. So we'll definitely make sure that we bring you on, because there's some important contribution I'd like you to make. But allow me to move to Metkel, please, Metkel Abram, if you don't mind introducing yourself a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Tony, for wonderful introduction and hosting this event. Well, I will introduce myself briefly so that everyone can remember. My name is Metkel Zaray Abraham, co-founder and Chief Operation Officer at Tech Africa. We are a company that operated in multiple African countries in East, West, and Central Africa. and I am happy to be part of this session to bring more solution and awareness to all our guests at Bellabot. Thank you, guys.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So let's keep the ball rolling. And do I have Martin's Aroji, please? I think Martin was with. Okay, Martin's here. I can see him. Go on, sir,
Hi,
please.
Tony.
Hello, how
Yeah,
are
hi,
you?
Tony. I'm good.
Excellent.
Again, thanks for agreeing to host the session and for having me here today. My name is Martin Zaroge. I'm a partner focused on tax and regulatory issues in the power sector across Africa and specifically for Western Central Africa. So it's all I've done for the last couple of years is an industry I'm particularly very passionate about. I've worked extensively with governments across the region, trying to look at how do we incentivize the industry and how do we get people what needs to change from a government perspective that can and will encourage investments in the renewable energy space. Otherwise, we'll probably just be speaking about getting more renewables into the energy mix without necessarily seeing any actual improvement or actual action. So what does government need to do to be able to drive that change, actively drive that change? And that's something we have been working across the region, speaking with governments and helping them craft those kind of policies. So I would just appreciate the opportunity to share some of my thoughts later on in the session. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, everyone.
Excellent. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot more that you can say regarding this topic. So can I move to, can I have Brayson and then I think Victor, you introduced yourself already, but we don't mind you saying it again. But Brayson, if you want to go first, please.
Hello, Tony. This is Bryson, and thanks, Tony, for your nice introduction. I'm a sales manager at JA Solar. I'm presenting 12 countries in the region, and I'm a one of. I like changing my society around me. Later, I'm going to give you a bit introduction about my education background. I've studied economics, so my plan was to be an economist, and later on, I changed my mind. I have a degree in economics, and then I changed my mind to be a salesperson so that I can impact my society around in terms of bring the energy to them and helping their lives. So I'm passionate to be a sales in the solar industry in 100%. So thanks for that one. Thanks a lot.
Well, let me tell you something. It's about selling, right? So you may have the best product in the world, but if you can't sell it, you're going nowhere. Thanks for that. I very much appreciate. So, Victor, would you mind again reintroduce yourself in a couple of minutes? Or I know we had a great presentation from you, but I think some people may be joining just now. So I want to make sure that they know who's the handsome boy looking at us.
Hello, everyone. Just to mention my name again, my name is Victor Musao. I work at JA Solar as a technical and marketing manager. I'm based in Nairobi, Kenya. I have a background in engineering, and I'm very passionate about renewable energy, particularly solar. I have good experience since 2012. When I was introduced to solar back in campus, and all these years I'm passionate about it, and that's why I'm here today to push the same message to our dear friends so that we can impact our continent with this great renewable product. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks for that. So we have about, let's say, between 30 and 40 minutes, depending how well we're doing. And I can see some people already dropping some questions. So thank you for that. So keep doing it. So let me now move into the discussion part, because we know that the sector, especially TNI sector, is growing across the continent. It's true in East Africa. It's definitely also the same in West Africa and Southern Africa, where actually things really started. So for the Central Africa region, right? So we want to have the discussion today, understanding a little bit more, because I'm sure many people in the call wants to find out what's going on there. But we know that the sector is very much policy driven, right? Regulation driven. So I always like to start the conversation from this standpoint so that we can see what are the policies and initiatives in place, yeah, and or any government subsidy in place that could potentially be driving the sector ahead. And I just want to start with you, Arda, right? Because I think you just have so many hats that you're wearing, right? And also representing the Angolan Association. So I just get a feeling you may have a couple of things you wanted to share around that. So would you mind please tapping into it before I can bring in anybody else?
Okay. As you said, the Central Africa or Africa itself, it is policy driven actually, and I believe we are not making this transition, or we are not accelerating as much as we can because of the absence of those policies. However, we do have some. But it's also important to tell the people that are hearing us just to bring them to what is really Central Africa. What are the countries that are part of Central Africa? Otherwise, we are going to put everyone in one box. So we can say that the Tomé Príncipe, I don't know if this is in English, it is in Central Africa, Kenya is in Central Africa, Angola is Central Africa, Cameroon, Burundi, all the things that are near to Angola, RDC, the Congo, are Central Africa. However, the policy that we have here, mainly in my investigation, as you all know, we have a lack of data in Africa,
Yeah.
but I managed, I managed to find some data, and we can see that most of the policy existing in the Central Africa is the feed-in tariff, which we can find in Mauritius, and also we can find in other countries. We also, most of the countries also have like reduction in sales for the dioxide of carbon, like the CO2. It's like what make us more, I guess, more vulnerable is that we don't have industries that produce the materials that we use for solar rooftops or for solar installations. But we also have policies that engaged more with the public's investment in laws and grants as well. And we also have the list that that have accelerated other policies. What they say around the world is the net metering. We should we don't have that much, but yeah, we do have in some countries that we can say like Cape Verde, and this is the country that are growing fast in the Central Africa. But however, we also have some barriers and measures that we need to overcome towards solar energy. It's like we have we do need some basis for long-term scenarios, which provide a clear path for us, and also we need to ensure the policies that are well aligned. And one of the policies that we can say now is like the strategies of the countries that are making. One example is us in Africa, Angola. I mean, we do have the national strategy called Angola 2025, which says that within next year, which is 2022, we are going to have at least 70% of our grid to be renewables. But one thing that is important to say is that we have a capacity of 16 gigawatt available in the country. But of course, that is not enough, because we say this capacity, but we all know that around other renewables, solar is the one that is is the easiest to install and also to maintain, like maintenance. But we do have some what we call state policy scenarios, which it integrates with national electrification strategies, and we reduce we also reduce the use of coal, and also we are trying to implement the carbon taxes, which also allows the government to not only promote sustainability but also to help the economy. And I believe that is all the policies says. It's like when we talk about the policies is to ensure that we have a economic sector stability, but we also have a kind of industry that is more sustainable. And when you don't get to put things right, the policies comes to make you do by the law. And then that is what we are trying to do mostly in Central Africa. Speaking in Angola, we are looking more for the tax reduction and also the carbon credit. We actually start this year, but different from other countries, the carbon credits, we are starting from actually planting plants rather than renewables. I guess it's a starting point that we can say, yes, Angola is doing something, because we must say that we are not the most polluting country, and even Africa itself. But however, we have to be on the road of sustainability, because the other are polluting, but we are now suffering from those devastations, or like from those issues. Another thing that we can say here is about the absence of feed-in tariff, of course, and also the lack of can I say grid integration. But we do can see some of the rooftop installation here in Angola. They are not many, it's not significant, but we are starting from somewhere, I believe so. In the other hand, it's like we are also trying to make a partnership from other countries to help us aligned with the policies that already exist from other countries. Like, South Africa is a way beyond the renewables, although in the north of Africa, they do have more technology, but it's like we are trying to do what we say cooperation between the governments to achieve the goal that we put in our national strategy.
Excellent. Well, that was a very, very detailed answer. I think I'll definitely appreciate that. And you're right. We definitely need to start somewhere, right? So there may not be a lot at the moment, but that's what this kind of conversation we're having today is starting the baton, right? So that's great. So I think, Metco, you maybe want to contribute as well here, because I think you have a couple of points we discussed just before that, and you just wanted to say something very quick before we move into the next question. So, Metco, are you around?
Yes.
I know you're around.
Yeah, I'm around. Uh, I want to go straight forward to the point due to time frame we have, and if we keep it briefly, we could reach some few more challenges we can read in this panel.
Yeah.
So currently, we really don't have much good policies up to now. I can say that, especially comparing with other countries like in the West, kind of policies they have. So I don't think I could say that we have much policies that support this sector. But I know there is many policy are introducing after Paris Agreement. I hope they will be implemented soon. So up to now, the most important, the question is, what is the policies up to now, and what policy can be introduced in the future? So the most important policy I could appreciate up to now is tax exemption on solar product. Like some few countries introduced it, they have this tax exemption. It has really a big impact, because everyone knows initial cost of solar system is very expensive, and many they cannot afford that. So if the government supporting the solar companies with tax exemption, definitely that affects the cost, and it will boost this sector. So I wish the countries that they have this kind of system to continue on doing that. And to some countries, I think most of the countries in the central region, they don't have this tax exemption. I wish they can continue. But I could just some few points, what kind of policies can be introduced. So I know there is too many policies in other parts of the world we could duplicate it, but I think so from country to country we are different, and we have different challenge, different atmosphere within our region. But some few points I can raise, especially like in the government, if allocated separate budget within government budget for renewable energy, that will be very helpful. The government can start intervene on private company challenge if they start allocate some budget. We have many aid, so we have to start diversify some of the fund for this sector. I know we have different challenges in this improving or health sector, maybe improving education sector or health sector or road and other stuff as we are in developing countries. But we have to start diversify some of the aid fund toward this sector if we have to see the impact of this solar or green energy system. And the third point I can raise is financial institution and banks has to start in this sector due to environment it has. Like start giving soft loan to customers or solar companies or farmers who try to install this kind of system. So if we can introduce these few policies, I think it will really helpful to boost this sector. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Because I know the signal wasn't necessarily great, but I can definitely summarize. You talked about some policy initiative that can help boost the sector, so that would be interesting to see. I think that's what also Alda referred to. Education as well. So we need to get people to better understand the market, looking at what are the opportunities, both from the supply point of view, but also the market perspective. So that's helpful as well to get us going. And also financial, right? It's all about the money. So how can we make sure that we bring in the money that's necessary to grow this market? Let me move into the second questions, right? And as I was talking about the finance, so I'll be very interested to find out more a little bit about the obstacle that we are seeing that is preventing us, or not, I wouldn't say preventing us, that basically the obstacle that needs to be overcome to make sure that we can really open up this market. So, Brayson, I think you've done a wonderful, not you, Victor, but there's been this wonderful, wonderful presentation about JA Solar. So I understand, from your presence is basically across the world these days, and you say you want to advance humanity. So it'd be good if you start advancing humanity in Central Africa. So what are the obstacles that we need to tackle to make sure that we can grow this market? So, Brayson, do you have some thought on that?
Yes, thanks, Tony. Yes, in Central Africa, yeah, there are some obstacles, especially in finding some finance in some solar projects. One of the obstacles currently we're experiencing unfavorable financing conditions. It means the financial institutions they are not willing interesting to investing in solar projects, especially for them. They saw this solar technology. It is of high sophisticated technology. It is a technology with a high risk. So that's why these financial institutions they don't willing to support the sector itself. So that's why they're imposing high interest rate. And currently the high interest rate ranging from 15 to 25. So the high interest rate also limits the sector to grow. Another obstacle. Another obstacle the sector is experiencing is that these solar projects they have characterized by the high upfront investment and the long-term project in nature. So these financial institutions they're not interested to invest in a project with a long-term tenor. So they are more willing to invest in short lending tenor. So that's why this is a challenge for most of the large solar projects in the region. Again, these financial institutions they have some they are more sensitive in terms of the fluctuation of the local currency, in terms of exchange rate. So they will impose high risk. They will impose high interest rate to account for the risk. So that the high interest rate risk also discourage some of the small and the middle companies to invest in the sector. And another challenge, another obstacle what I see here, it is the high PPF tariffs. Yeah? The high PPF tariff compared to the conventional project. You know, the government, they normally put a lot of support and emphasize on the conventional project like hydropower, but they left this energy sector alone. So the high PPF tariff, it is another challenge toward the success of the solar project in a region. So what are the solution? I think the solution will be we need to develop a good link between these financial institutions and the developers of those projects. They need to sit together. They need to sit in the same desk and discussing some challenges and draw some conclusions. Another solution which I can see here, it is we need to come out with a comprehensive approach on how solar project will be realized a return on investment in shorter period of time, so that we can convince this financial institution to support the sector easily. And another, it is a trust issue. You know, the trust is another solution, because there is no this kind of trustee. Financial institutions, the developer, the off-taker of non-payment risk. So we need to develop this kind of trust so that we can help the sector to grow. And again, the financial institution, they're supposed to trust the technology. You know, this technology, for them, they see it's very complicated, so sophisticated technology, very risky. So they need also to trust the technology so that the sector can grow. So that is my observations so far.
Okay, that's brilliant. I think you mentioned again a number of points there. I'm sure some of our other speakers will want to rebound on that. So, but we come back to that. But just to again summarize the point that you made. So you talk about extreme or increasing unfavorable, let's say, issues, you know, with the with financing in this region, right? In favorable terms, right? Meaning that those financial institutions are not necessarily willing to tap into the market, and that's why we're seeing things like, because for various reasons, like the fluctuation of the currency, the high interest rate, and also the high PPA tariff, that could be discouraging for actually the consumer. And you mentioned a couple of solutions there where you see the collaborations among players that can help, let's say, tackle some of these challenges, but also making sure that one can develop project in a shorter period of time is very important, because obviously when somebody wants to invest or customer wants his solution, he don't want you to take a full year or let's say a full 2 years just to do it, especially for this side of project we're talking about, because the difference here, it's important for us to note, it's not utility scale, right? So solar rooftop, most of the time, it's more a project. So we got to be able to do to be there very fast. And also the issue of trust, very important. Trust in the different player among themselves, but also trust in the technology. So many powerful points. So we'll be able to come back to that. So let me get to because there's just so many questions. I just want to make sure that we can tackle as much as possible this issue before we can come back on some of them. So when we were talking about the regulation being central, so one way we have to do it, or we have to impact that regulation, is to engage with government, right? And looking at how they can incentivize the growth of solar energy into the sector. So, Martin, so you working for KPMG. So the beauty of a guy like yourself, you know, you're a global player. You're engaging with many customers, both from government standpoint, from private sector standpoint, and also the regulator. So I was wondering whether you can give us some insight as to if you have some ideas on how government in the region are looking to boost the sector. Are they interested at all, or maybe not? Tell us the truth.
I think the truth is governments across the region are generally interested. Everyone has primarily committed to the COP's 26 agenda. Everyone is looking to impact climate. Everyone is looking to increase the share of energy coming from renewables across the continent. But what we've seen is that there has to be policies that basically match the talk. And up until now, we haven't really had policies that match the talk across the generality of countries on the continent. Now, we've had a few countries that have basically taken clear, defined steps across the continent. Senegal is one of them, where there are actually specific policies that match the talk. But across the continent in general, you don't find policies that match that talk. So everyone is talking about increasing the component of renewables in the energy mix. But in terms of actual policies on ground, nothing has actually changed. So what you've seen, that growth has primarily been driven by Western organizations that are looking to also make investments in that sector, despite, not because of, but despite the challenging investment landscape. One thing people have consistently spoken about is how tax incentives will drive investment. But from our experience, that's not necessarily the case. It hasn't been particularly the case. First of all, you also need to understand what are the particular challenges of players, and also the market itself. How will the market itself interact with these tax incentives? What is key for those who are looking to make this particular investment? Because there are two ways you can do renewables, either grid level or mini grids, and also solar rooftops, which again is an essential part of this sector. And so, how does tax incentives actually interact with this market? And we've seen in a number of instances that when tax incentives have been introduced, they haven't really changed much because they haven't been targeted at what the particular challenge is in the sector. So you go to some countries, and the most popular tax incentive you will see is a tax holiday from corporate income tax. But tax holidays are only important where you make profits. So if someone says to you, "I'll give you a tax holiday," so that you won't pay tax when you make profit, the person has made a very significant assumption, which is that you are going to make profits. But when you don't make profits, those holidays are typically useless. And in a number of those instances, the holidays that are not they're not a lifetime tax holiday. They are particularly timed. Someone gives you a 3-year tax holiday. I spend the first 6 to 18 months constructing my plant. So in that period, there's really no revenue. I spend the next 18 months trying to recover the cost of construction. So even though I'm making revenues in the next 18 months, I'm not in a profit position. So the 3 years go by and I don't benefit, even though for all intents and purposes, a policy that granted me a tax holiday, but I never made profit. And if I do make profits, I'm lucky enough to break even and then enter profitability within that first 3 years. It's very, very minimal. There is really no real value there. But when I then turn back and say, so what's now the effect of that tax holiday? It doesn't factor significantly into my tax planning. Then you then go into what kind of holidays would really, really work. And then the next set of tax incentives you'll see are primarily around what you have with import duties. Because today, to a reasonable extent, a lot of the batteries, the panels are not manufactured in the continent. They need to be imported into the continent. So duties are a significant cost component. But what we see is, because of the state of the industry, a lot of instances where these components are imported duty free, that cost doesn't necessarily translate to reductions in tariff or reductions in cost for end users. And if there is no reduction in cost for end users, you cannot incentivize uptake. It's not just about incentivizing players. They also need to be able to incentivize off-takers. And if that cost savings isn't transferred to off-takers, then there is nothing that changes in their own behavioral patterns. And that's not what we're looking to do. So what we've seen that may work, because let me not talk about what's not working, let me talk about what we've seen that may work, is something that puts money in the hands of people, the off-takers, the market. That's what primarily would work. So I'll give you an example. If someone says to me today, if I take off the roof in my house and install solar panels, I would be able to take a personal tax benefit for it, and I can see the cash savings in my hand, I am more likely to make that particular investment than if you say to me, I rely on the producers, I rely on manufacturers to sell it at a lower cost. Because for me, I don't know how much I could easily have bought it for. So if the producer could have sold it for 2 million, just giving an example, and because of his paying is getting an import cost or import benefit, if import exemption, is now selling for 1.5 million. I don't know that, so I don't see that difference. What I see is that it's being sold for 1.5 million. That's the cost I can relate to it. But if someone says to me, if you buy this for 2 million, you can then get a tax benefit of 500,000 that I can take out from my own tax payment at the end of every year. That's an immediate tax benefit I can see. And that's something I wouldn't be able to see if I was using fossil fuel, because it doesn't exist for fossil fuel. So that's an incentive for me that I can tie directly to my own financial position that helps me make that investment decision. And it's the same thing for corporates also, because we've been talking to government and saying, how do you encourage corporate organizations to move from fossil fuel, which is what the majority of people across the continent use today. How do you ensure, because it's not just about incentivizing renewables, it's also ensuring that when I compare both, I can see that there is a marked financial difference for me when I move to renewables. And that's what will drive change. That's what will drive that kind of behavior that we're looking for across the continent. So government needs to be a bit more creative rather than just take off what they've seen and heard everyone say before, which is give grant tax holidays, grant import duty waivers. So if governments can channel that to ways where people can see direct cash impact in their pockets, then we can then begin to talk about incentivizing growth in the industry. So I'll stop here and allow for other speakers to also share their perspective.
Excellent. And that's why we have people like yourself, right, to give us some light into that, right? Because you have, let's say, a wide amount of knowledge in the topic. So as we're talking about developing the sector in this particular region, because we accept that in other part of Africa, talking about West Africa, East Africa, and Southern Africa, so the sector, yes, still quite small, but definitely more advanced than Central Africa, right? So I was wondering, if we can look at what is kind of the best practice that we could be looking at to make sure that we can move forward. And talking about the best practice, obviously one could say there's no need to necessarily always reinvent the wheel. We can already take notice, right? Take example what other leaders have done in other parts of the continent and also other parts of the world. And that's what I like you, Metkel, to talk about. I know you had a couple of points you may want to add into Martin's contributions, but if you can also respond to this question for me. So what kind of best practice lesson can we draw from other parts of the world to move forward? Before you respond, just gonna say, so remind the audience that we're having a Q&A section where I would like you, if you don't mind, please, to drop your question there, because we still have another about 10 minutes, talking to the speakers. I've been talking to Victor after that, but I absolutely will want to take a couple of questions for you, from you, the audience, because I like you to be involved with us. So it needs to be interactive. It's not just us preaching at you. You also have very good input. We want to hear from that. So yeah, please do drop the question. So back to you, Metco. So hopefully you understood the questions. So what kind of best practice, yeah, initiative could we be looking at just to make sure that we can drive the sector in this particular region? And feel free as well to add a couple of comments onto what Martin has been tackling, which is what could government do to incentivize as well the sector. So back to you, Metco.
Thank you, Tony. I think I highlight some of the points on my previous discussion. I was trying to be so brief so that we can reach some few points. Thank you, Martin, for the detailed explanation he was telling about. Okay, so one of the things government can implement, like I said previously, giving tax exemption for solar companies. At the same time, giving tougher measure on import goods like diesel generator and coal and other stuff, so that the household to be discouraged to use this diesel generator. You know what's happened is, like, most of the time, as he said, the initial cost of the solar system is very expensive. When we top up the tax, it increases the prices, and most households, they can't afford that. So if the government has to invest, if the government has to interfere on such kind of things, as far as it giving tax exemption on the solar product, on renewable energy, it has also to start implement tougher or more higher tariff on diesel generator and other stuff. The rest, I think I have highlighted some of the things, like diverting some fund. Like, we have a lot of fund that we prioritize to bridge, to roads, to education. I know all of them are important because we are in developing countries, but at the same time, the government has to diversify some of the international fund we receive towards this sector, so that this sector can grow. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. Great for that. And just want to say, it looks like a couple of people definitely has heard me talking, so they've submitted questions. So thank you very much. Just want to say that to people who sent questions. I'm just going to mention the name just to preserve your privacy, but your question is well received. We're gonna tackle that. So Victor, let me jump into you very quickly before we take those couple of questions. You're gonna have a little difficult question, but the reason I'm able to do that to you is because you've done such a great presentation. So I'm sure you have, what it takes, the wherewithal, right, to respond to that. So I want to talk about the key question that many people in this call are actually waiting to hear. What about the tariff? I appreciate it's a challenging question. I just want to get your open opinion, right? So what you think. So what kind of tariff basically do we see adopted in the region? I mean, if you have an idea, or if not, what do you think? If you have no idea, but what do you think could be the tariff that we could see in this region? Like I say, you guys operating across the globe, in many places in Africa, so you have a tendency. How can a new market, because it's still a relatively new market compared to other part of Africa, so what kind of tariff can we see in a new market that is opening up in terms of CNI?
Okay. First, just to mention, we are, as an industry, we're in the right direction. If you can just take note of all the marketing events that are happening, or solar events that are happening in our planet, and also in Africa, you can see there's so many exhibitions. So that means that we are in the right direction. If you check in education curriculums, we have so many renewable energy programs as diplomas, certificates, degrees. So that means, as a continent, we appreciate this solar technology. So that is very key. I think one of the most important things that we need to do is to bring out installation guidelines and standards that should be followed. And also in that regard, also we need to ensure that the people that are doing this job, the final technicians, that they are licensed, they are qualified, just to ensure, because one of the issues why financiers will shy away from solar is because at the end, the person implementing may not be fully competent or fully certified to carry out the project. So I think it is very key as a continent that we bring out these guidelines that are showcasing, or they are showing step by step on what's supposed to be done in terms of installation standards, in terms of who should do the installation, at what level, at what capacity, because in installation we have small installation, we have large scale installation. And also the other thing that we need to do as a continent is also to invest in smart grid. That will ensure that as a continent we can do the feed-in tariffs also from the rooftops of our customers. They can sell, they can buy from us. And I think we, in this regard, we are quite far, but I'm sure the governments are working on that to make sure that we move towards smarter grids. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. So I take it as at least an attempt to respond to the question. So thank you very much, speakers. Now let me tap into the question that we had, because we still have another 15 minutes to go in this session before I can hand over to Anand, because he maybe start itching by now, right? So he's not doing anything anymore because he was speaking now, speaking on his behalf. So question that I have received. So very interesting question. And the first question is actually challenging all of us on the panel, right? And the question says, so let me read it. So the issue of developing tailored, scalable solution to address off-grid. Okay, it may be slightly different by the topic, but as like I say, I've been asking for questions. I think it's our duty to make sure that we respond to those. So, okay, great. It's there. Oh, excellent. Okay. So the issue of developing tailored, scalable solution to address off-grid solar e-waste has not come out clearly by the panelists or in the presentation. Is it by design? I love it. I love this part. Or you assuming that off-grid solar e-waste is non-existent? So, I think I like all that to tackle that, because I think just from the sheer amount of knowledge that you've collected from your different experiences, so it feels to me that yeah, you're the right person to take it first, if you don't mind, obviously.
No. I don't mind. Actually, it's an interesting question. Yes, when he talks about e-waste, I guess he wants to say electronic waste, just to make sure that we are in the same path. It's like the greatest problem that we have in renewables, that most of the environment people activists say, is that we haven't given the solutions for recycling our technologies. And we are starting now talking about recycle, because most of the technology comes from 10 to 15 years, and we have to talk about what comes after. Otherwise, we are going to go in a loop where we are solving one problem and we are creating another problem. And the e-waste is on the how can I say, in the e-waste is on our list of problems that we can tackle. But however, I don't think that we African, we are educated enough yet to start having actions toward this. Here in Angola, we do have a company that does e-waste, and he just started now. It's just a new subject for us to tackle. It's a new subject for us to discuss, and I believe I have here also one of our inviters here are talking about batteries and stuffs, and I guess the e-waste, even the technologies such as wind, or even the batteries, also even the solar panels are also integrated in the market, where we say, okay, we are buying these, but we also need to recycle them. Are they being used? Not really, because it is a new subject for us. And I believe in our policies, we haven't, I have to say the truth, from my knowledge, from our policies, we haven't talked about the e-waste solutions, but we do have off-grid policies that are accelerating the installation of roof solars and other type of renewables.
Okay, no, that's great. So I would say the way I take it, so yes, you're right. So we haven't done it just yet, but it means that this is an opportunity, clearly. for people who are looking for opportunity, because we know it's going to be one of the most dominant question as we moving forward. Because you're absolutely right. All those systems that we're installing, they have a 10, 15, 25 year, even 30 years lifetime. What happened after that? And if you're talking about a cleaner world, we need to think about how do we deal with that. I've always say, even if we all go renewables today and we don't tackle the issue of recycling, we're still going to have a big problem. But thank you that was very brave and taking this question, Alda. I really appreciate. I want to move on to the second one, and then we're just talking about, I don't know whether we're going to have it in the screen, but let me start by reading that. So I'm sure, so my colleague will put it in the screen in a minute. So and that's, I guess, for JA Solar, right? Most likely. What ESG commitment do solar module manufacturer consider? So obviously, you in this case, JA Solar, during the operation. So if I can have either Victor or Brayson to jump into that. That's a very good question, though, guys. So, yeah. Victor, Brayson? Oh, my Brayson, I think I haven't heard from you for a little while, so you don't want to make sure that. Is there any idea what you guys are doing to tackle those commitments? If not, if you have no idea, maybe Victor can help. Up. They've gone silent. Victor, Brayson, do you guys hear me? Just want to make sure that you can still hear me.
Yes, sir, you are audible. Victor, sir, Brayson, sir, are you still there?
So I think if we have some challenges there, what I'll suggest, we can move to the next question. We'll come back to that in a minute because I want to make sure that we're tackled. So let's move to the next question, guys. So which is saying, in which African countries incentive for CNI sector exists to install rooftop and rooftop solar panel combined with battery to save energy? So I guess that's more yeah, that's very smart what seemed here. So you're now looking to expand your knowledge, right? We're talking about Central Africa here. So, but I'll lay you off. So, in which African country, if you can have a quick response to that. So, either I have Martins jumping into that, or yeah, or medical. But let's make it a little bit brief because, like I say, so I also like the conversation today to focus on how we can develop the market in Central Africa. What I would say, if we identify a couple of countries where there are incentives, let's understand what are those incentives and which one is we able to replicate in Central Africa. So, Martin, you want to? I think you talked about it a little bit, Martin, but you may want to summarize that again very quickly so that Wasim get his response.
Okay, my assumption is that the question that you've asked is focused on consumer or customer-based incentive, because I talked about a number of African countries already have import duty exemptions when you bring in the panels and batteries. In fact, most African countries already have those import duty incentives. But in terms of customer-based incentives, that typically impact the pocket of customers, I am not aware that there are any today. And that's probably what we need to begin to push across the continent, customer-based incentive that impacts the pocket of customers and help them see that there is some value to be derived from installing rooftop solar panels as against investing in diesel generators. Today, what you will find is that the average cost of investing in solar panels and batteries is a lot higher than the average cost of the initial investment in fossil fuel generators. Now, over the lifetime of both assets, what we've seen is that the solar panels and batteries would probably cost less. But consumers don't look at lifetime. They look at the initial expenditure, and that's significant for them. So that's why we are trying to encourage African governments to also begin to focus on customer and consumer-based incentives that most likely would impact how much they spend at the initial cost points. Thanks.
Okay, thanks for that. Let me give as well a little bit of a response here. At least Wasim gets something. So what I can say, policy incentives that are specifically targeting CNI, it will be challenging to find. I'm not saying impossible, challenging to find. There are some countries though that have some, I would say, policy in place that are favorable to the sector. You would have heard of South Africa, for example, that had lifted the threshold, right, from 1 megawatt all the way to 100 megawatt now, whereby if you're developing a generation project, you have a minimal amount of licensing requirement that you need to do. This is very, very helpful for the sector, right? So especially lifting that from 1 megawatt to all the way 100 megawatt, which is significant. Having said that, many other countries, for example, Kenya will have it. I know Nigeria will have it. Potentially Cameroon will have it. Will have as well a similar policy whereby if the system you are designing as below, I believe, is 1,000 kilowatt, which is 1 megawatt, there's also a minimal amount of paperwork that you need to do to get them going. It is almost like straightforward, right? So which is always good, because being in the sector ourselves, being a developer ourselves, we know that the more you can minimize the interaction with the with the public sector, the government, so the better it is for you. So it's gonna go faster. And I think Metcalf is talking. He's saying Uganda. So yeah, I've seen that as a message. So yeah, Uganda. So yeah, by the way, Metcalf, just jumping in. So because after that we're gonna be looking at wrapping up. So you may want to say that as well. So Metcalf, just jump in.
Yeah, I think I like to speak briefly. So he was asking which countries, and since we are targeting the Central African countries, so I can say Kenya has it, Uganda has it, Rwanda, those countries I know about. So just to answer his question.
Yep, absolutely. So I do definitely agree with that. So let's look at the last question very quickly, and after that we're gonna be wrapping up because we need to move on to the next conversation soon. So the last question, which is similar to the first one we had, but like I say, I always want to reward people that sort of contribute to the conversation, make sure that we respond to that. And the last question is, does financing uptake of solar product, does the financing model, okay, that's slightly different, but that's good. I know what the answer is going to be, but let's look at that. Okay, does financing model also covers off-grid solar e-waste? So realistically, I think the answer to that would be I don't think so. If there is, it's very, very limited, very, very reduced. But let me modify a little bit the questions, right? So that at least we can give you a further insight. So does financing model covers off-grid solar? Let's leave it. Let's redirect it or rephrase it this way, so that is even more useful as a response to you. Because for the e-waste, as you say, others are saying, other people are saying that as well. So it's still a new sector. We're still developing understanding, so there won't be any financing. If not, it's just financing to develop, let's say, a pilot project. So there won't be that much there. But off-grid is a little bit bigger. That we have more than a megawatt, more than a gigawatt of off-grid now in the yeah. If I'm correct, yeah, megawatt, yeah, I think it's megawatt. I need to check that anyway. I'm not sure all of a sudden. Yeah, but there's already a market for off-grid here. Do financing model also cover off-grid? Who want to take it very quickly before we can wrap up? And after that, like I say, we out of time, so we want to wrap up after that. Anybody want to take it very quickly in a couple of words?
Yes, Tony, believe me, there is so much. Do you know one thing that I always say in my talkings is like there is money for renewables, most for photovoltaics projects, rooftops. But the problems here in Africa, mostly in Central Africa, is that we don't have an optimized process. You know, even the other panelists they said about the banks itself, they are not aware of the problematic. Even when you have a project and when you have that one that can change a community, the banks that just doesn't accept because of the debits, the credits. No one wants to finance, but there is money to there because we cannot see the return of investment. What is happening now, along with the policies, along with the existing policies, it's like we are tackling more to improve modern energy. This is in rural places, because here in the city we do have a kind of energy that comes from hydro. We know Africa is rich in rivers, so our main renewable is hydro. But however, we are going to solar, and this solar we are tackling in rural places where we don't have a limitation from the grid. Because of most of the country we cannot do reverse power because the grid is not stable enough to have problems of infrastructure. But the financial are everywhere. But what we don't have is just the yes man who says, yes, I'm going to put this money in, because the international corporations, they do donate money to Africa for those type of projects. What we need now in our conversation is raise awareness of our change makers here in Africa, to allow this money to go into the small projects, to put their application in, like a roof solar that we are talking about now. However, is also the scaling up and replication of the project with local solutions.
Thank you very much for those very wise words. So, guys, we out of time. So let me just take a couple of minutes to wrap up here. Just to acknowledge that I think Eric, who asked the question, share a link. So regarding most likely a project in an initiative in Kenya. So if you can just drop it in the general comment box so that everybody can see. And as I said, there's still some question there, but we can't tackle all of them. But just have it in the comment box so people will respond to that, or do reach out to me and make sure that I relay that to the organization so that they get it. So I just have to wrap up the conversation and say three things here, right? So the first thing I want to say is, so I want to thank all the speakers, because you can see that from the breadth of the knowledge, we've seen that the market is very, very exciting. And if it wasn't for the knowledge, it would have been a boring session. So thank all the speakers for that. So the second thing I want to say, yes, we want to be at the center of the game. And for you to be at the center of the game, definitely look as well at Central Africa, because as you can see, the market is still on top. And if it's on top, what does that mean? That's most likely where you're going to have the biggest opportunity. So whoever move ahead right now is going to have a significant amount, portion of the cake, right? That's great. The third thing I like to leave you with, and I say that if you don't want to leave me frustrated because I was only having one gift as opposed to two gifts, right? So I definitely will invite you to join me for the Solar Entrepreneurship Workshop that we are doing tomorrow. And then that's where we're going to be celebrating the sector even more. So let me just drop the link right now, and you can see that. And this is going to be a big gift that you can give to me. So join the workshop, and we'll be more than happy to talk about solar entrepreneurship, especially for those of you who are looking to become solar developer. That's all I have to say. So thank you very much for the organizers. Wonderful session. And I'm hoping I see you next year. And in between, you have a great end of the year. And see you tomorrow for those of you signing up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So thank you very much to all our esteemed panelists for this wonderful session, and a very special thanks to Tony, sir, for superbly managing the session. The show is not over yet. We are taking a short networking break, and we'll be back with another exciting session on the topic tech advancement, constructing profitable projects. Till then, explore our exhibition launch, network with our peers, and join our sponsors on the networking table. Thank you. See you soon. Good afternoon and welcome back to all our attendees. Thank you for your patience. Now, let us begin with our second session, which will be focused on tech advancement, constructing profitable projects. Session experts who have joined us today are Mr. Oluj Vere from Renewables in Africa, who is also the moderator for this session. Mr. Brayson Hillary from JA Solar. Mr. Patrick Mugabo from NG Energy Access, Rwanda. Mr. Augusto Francisco from N Global. Now, I'd like to hand it over to Mr. Oluj to take the discussion forward. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Anand. I hope I'm loud and clear, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second session of the SolarRoofs Central Africa. My name is Oluo Chwere, Regional Director Kenya and East Africa at Renewables in Africa. Renewables in Africa is a clean energy engineering company focusing on developing and financing commercial and industrial solar projects across Africa and subsequently other emerging markets. As Anand has mentioned, I'll be moderating this second session where our industry experts will be discussing issues touching on policies, technology, business, and market trends. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the discussion, please feel free to type them into the chat box or the Q&A box. I'll bring them up during the presentation, and we'll also have time for questions at the end. Now, without much further ado, I'll present our panelists, who include Mr. Grayson Hilary Kisamo, Sales Manager East Africa JA Solar, Mr. Mugabo Patrick, Chief Operations Officer NG Energy Access, and Mr. Augusto Francisco, Head of Renewable Energy. I'll now allow our panelists to quickly introduce themselves. Mr. Augusto, please feel free to introduce yourself. Then we'll have Mr. Patrick, then Bryson will come third. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. First, I'd like to thank Solar Quarter for this invitation. I'm Augusto Francisco. I'm an electrical engineer and a renewable energy enthusiast. I'm focused on developing clean energy solutions to help communities to have access to clean energy. Nowadays, I'm working as head of renewable energy at Angola. I had almost 8 years of experience, most of them working with PV power plant, energy efficiency, and facilities engineering. And Angobao is an EPC company, a local EPC company in Angola. We develop energy solution. We are the first one doing engineering by locals. So we do the whole process locally, the engineering, the procurement, and the construction. And we love to add values not only to the companies, but also to our society.
Thanks, Augusto. Quite an interesting description of you and basically what you guys are doing. Mr. Patrick, kindly feel free to introduce yourself.
Thanks a lot, and thanks for the invitation. My name is Mugabo Patrick. I'm a Rwandese, currently working for NG Energy Access in Rwanda. I'm based in Rwanda. I've been in the industry for the last almost 10 years. I'm passionate about renewable energy and especially, of course, the operation side of it, mainly the whole supply chain of the industry. I've been around for a while. My main focus is to actually develop specific products depending on a specific market. We have available products when it comes to solar or renewable energy in general, but I always believe that our different markets also need specific products. So my main focus has been on developing specific products that actually meet specific demand. So energy, NG Energy Access is an energy company, mainly for renewable solar industry. In Rwanda, it was former Mobiso, former Phoenix, and Power Corner, so have been acquired by Engie to put together all the strength of the three companies. Mobiso was in the middle range solar home system. Phoenix was on the smaller side of the systems, and then Power Corner was on the mini grid side. So both combined became Engie Energy Access. So those are the services that we offer currently under EEA. I'm very happy to be part of conference today. Looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Patrick. Brayson, kindly, may you please step in?
Okay, thanks. And first of all, it's a pleasure to be with you here, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, my name is Bryson Hillary Samo. I'm my sales manager at J East Africa. I'm managing 12 countries in the region. Let me give you a bit about JA. JA, we are the solar manufacturer, and we are among the top 3 global marketing share. And so far, up to now, we have already deployed more than 73 gigawatt globally, and we have already deployed 1 gigawatt in Africa, despite the fact of this corona issue. But we try our best to deliver, and we have some of the big projects on ground that we did. That is 200 megawatt in Egypt. 24 megawatt in Mali, and 15 megawatt in Burkina Faso. So we did a lot of big projects in Africa so far, that is ranging from 1 gigawatt. So we are the top manufacturer of the solar modules globally. So that is a brief about JA. So thanks a lot for that.
Thank you very much, panelists, for a quick introduction with regards to what you guys do, who you are, and sounds really interesting. So to kick the ball rolling, we'll now, just get to hear from you, and basically this is where you as key experts within the sector, we'd like to learn more from you. And starting with Brayson from JS Solar, you realize within the last 2 years or so post-COVID, the sector has been very much affected. Here, what am I talking about? The supply chain, especially if I am an off-taker or even an EPC, whereby I'm expecting my project to kickstart in a couple of months. But unfortunately, due to issues with regards to, shipping, with regards to manufacturing, you realize the timelines haven't been the way all these parties have been expecting. So what's your take, especially when we are talking of streamlining supply chain and also quality assurance for rooftop solar projects? Grayson?
Yeah, okay, thanks for this question. So for me, I will have this 3 observation. First observation, I will base on product standardization and quality. As you know that many of the solar projects now in the market, we lack the so-called standardization. They are more low quality product in the market, and what makes this happen? It's our regulations, our government. Actually, they fail to control this kind of the product in the market. I'm gonna tell you that the customer, they're very sensitive in terms of the price. So if they're very sensitive in the price, as you know, the businessman, the company, local company, they will even outsource the local quality. And if the regulation is not there, this will be an issue. So the solution is to imposing the ICC standard on importations, on designing installation, and the performance monitoring. That will help to improve the quality of solar, especially in solar projects. And again, another observation which I have, it is a shipping cost and realistic delivery time. So far, during COVID, we've been experiencing the shipping cost is higher. I'm going to give you an example. The shipping cost to Mombasa, let's say in Mombasa, it was 2,000 to 3,000 USD. But recently, to Mombasa it's alone, it is about 80,000 to 9,000 USD. So the COVID, the situation, making the market to move. So the high shipping cost and delivering, it is delivering an unrealistic delivering time also affect the chain supply in this sector. And then the last observation, which I can see, it is about spacing limitations, especially on the commercial space. That is, there is limited in terms of the space. So a lot of companies, they normally take this. It means that for commercial project, the space is very limited. So you need more efficient panel so that you can, the more efficient panel, the less the space that you can take in. So that is my three observations that which you can see as a limit, and these are the issues that need to be addressed so that you can provide the way forward.
Wow, thanks, Brazon. That was very interesting. And from your conversation, I realized that actually there are three key takeaways. One being substandard products within the market, two, pricing, and three, delivery timelines. So I'll focus on substandard products within the market. And you realize specifically within sub-Saharan African countries, over a long period of time, we've been having substandard products and solar equipments within our markets. And this has in a big way affected, the customer experience, whereby solar's uptake, especially in the last couple of years, talking mainly in the CNI sector, you realize in as much as it's slowly picking up, but we've had more or less negative feedback from a majority of consumers. And talking of substandard products, what will be, your main way of handling this in terms of, could it be in terms of government policies and regulations, or could it be one key area whereby we sensitize our customers? Which is the main area that you'd be more keen in terms of tackling this issue of substandard products within the market?
Yeah, the main area that we need to improve, which is on the government. We need to have the standards. We need to have the standard on importations. So far, Kenya, they did a wonderful job on this one, but the rest of the country, I think in Central Africa also, I don't think if the government actually did the same. But in East Africa, the good example is Kenya. So no more substandard in Kenya compared to any other country. So the government need to put a regulation before importing solar product in the market. We need to have kind of standard. Don't import grade C, import only grade 1. But another issue of this grade 1, it is price sensitive. And the customer, they are very sensitive on the price. So they will do any maneuver, even to cross the border to go in another country to buy. So this regulation, especially the government, they need to be very sure that they're imposing this one and to control the entire market.
Thank you, Bryson. Those are good points. Just a reminder to the attendees, please be sure to type your questions into the question box, and we'll be more than happy to address or engage you at the end of this session. So please allow me to welcome our next speaker. with Augusto. Augusto, kindly, please step in.
Yes. When we think about rooftop projects, when we are designing a solution, it's important to choose the best inverter and also the best PV module. And there are many factors that can help us choose between many brands in the market. Talking about PV module, I recommend to choose waveportable solar panel manufacturer. The PV panel should have a high efficiency, should be resistant to PAD, and nowadays we are designing projects which can last 25 years. So the PV panels should have a lower power degradation, and it also should have a good performance in bad weather conditions. When we try to look into the market options, we can find a variety of products, from premium ones like Some Power and so on, from the affordable ones like GA Solar, like Trina, like Along Solar, and we have to consider the price, because it impacts directly our project LCOE, because price can vary from the most affordable brands, from $0.2 per watt to $0.9 per watt, talking to the top brands like Trina Solar. And the panels cost used to represent around 40 to 50% of our project cost. So it's an important requirement. Moving to inverters, which are the central element of our PV system. It's also recommended to choose a well-known inverter manufacturer, which is easy to install, with a high efficiency, integrated DC and AC protection. The product should have a good warranty, service, and all international certification. It's always good to choose an inverter that can be installed outdoors. So an inverter that is resistant to different weather conditions, and which has a good performance. And to optimize our LCOE, we usually oversize the inverter. So we also have to pay attention to the inverter oversizing ratio. And as the PV panels, we have different markets or different brands for inverters. From the top brands like SMA, like Solar Edge, like Fronius. From the most affordable ones like Goodwill, like Huawei, like Sangro, or like Growat. And the inverter price represents around 20% of our project cost. It can vary from 0.1 from the most affordable brands to 0.25 brands. And I think these factors can help us design the best PV module inverter match. There are also many engineering tools like designing tools. I'm talking about PVSol, SolarGo, PVCase, which can help us in designing process, giving us all the information we need, like the sizing ratio, like the string voltage. All of these technical information we can handle easier if we were using engineering tool. That's all for now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Augusto. That was short and precise, and actually very, very much insightful. And apart from that, from your conversation, there's something that you mentioned when selecting best module and inverter technology for basically CNI rooftop projects. I realized that you were very keen on pricing. How does this affect, the tariff? If I'm engaging a CNI client who actually is looking to go solar, how will these, when I go for the best module and inverter, the pricing for these equipments, how will it affect the tariff pricing? That makes sense.
When you say tariff, you are talking about the consumption or the consumer acquisition cost, right?
Yeah. In terms of pricing at the end of end of it, how much?
If you think that, for example, you can, for example, if you buy a SunPower solar panel, which can be more than 2 times expensive than along the solar, and PV panel represent around 50% of your project. So if you, depending on your choice, you can increase at least by 50% your final price. And of course, financing. If you are developing a project with foreign financing, most of them requires you to use for example, if it's an European finance, you have to use European equipment. But if you can choose which equipment you want to use to meet lower LCOE, of course, there are many other options on the market that can help you to have an affordable pricing for your customer, but also you can reach a lower and a very affordable LCOE.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Sounds really interesting. Thank you. Just a reminder. Come again.
Okay, I need to add some point on the pricing issue.
Yes. Okay, please, Brayson, please go ahead.
Yeah, from my side, I don't think the price is it's a big deal. In a solar project, it's a project with a long tenor. It means a project with a long period of time. So the price, as you know, the customers are very sensitive with the price, but we need to educate the customer really that, you need a tier 1 brand like JA Solar. So this price, because we're providing a good quality model. And then this model lasts for 25 years. So it is a big project. So for me, I think we need to educate our clients more on the technology side, that the price for them should not be an interest factor to proceed with the big project solar. So that is my views. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Brayson. Very insightful. And we basically understand that, you know, customer awareness is key, in that for them to understand that, you know, for a better product, pricing shouldn't be much of an issue, because these are long-term sort of a project. And you realize with a long-term project, quality is also key. So pricing shouldn't be such a major hindrance, because we realize we can't, you know, just come in and just delegate maybe something in terms of quality with regards to pricing. Because at the end of it, you realize the end product in terms of energy, there might be one or two deficiencies here and there, because one went for a poor quality product, looking basically at pricing. Thank you very much, Brayson, for that. Now, just a reminder to our audience, please be sure to type your questions into the question box, and we'll be able to tackle them towards the end of this. Now, kindly allow me to introduce our next panelist, our next speaker, who will be discussing, you know, developers' perspective, looking at, you know, the projects in terms of a developer. And also, with the same regard, what will be the key challenges facing basically an EPC company in terms of O&M of solar rooftop portfolio. Kindly allow me to introduce or to welcome Patrick from NG Energy Access. Welcome, Patrick. Okay, seems like Patrick has connection issues. Yeah, so as we wait for Patrick to reconnect, I think we'll look at a couple of questions. Then, as we wait for Patrick to step in, so there is one question from Eric, which actually states, though the producers, though the producers O&M distributors of off-grid solar products are stakeholders within the renewable business segment, on the extreme end, they're also competitors. Are they willing to share the existing infrastructure in the collection of okay, seems like that's where the question ended up. So, Eric, if you could kindly just help with the question in terms of just typing in exactly what you are asking. But I don't know, either Augusto or Brayson, if you are able to come in. I think Eric is asking if there's a way the so-called competitors are able to join hands and share one or two existing infrastructure in terms of getting to understand how the market is and coming in together. Yeah.
So let me try to answer that. It should be, for me, I think it is impossible, actually.
Okay.
Let's say JA Solar and Jinko to join together. It's quite impossible. You know, this company, they have different technology, different skills, and that's why there is a competition. In a business, always you need to have competing each other, so that you need to win the market based on your unique value proposition that you oppose in that particular market. You know, for me, to engage these two competition to be together, it will bring like a monopoly. You know, the kind of monopoly. Let's say in Tanzania, the monopoly of the electricity is TANESCO. There is an impact of a company to be a monopoly. You need to provide diversified ground, so that if you miss A, you go to B. So I think this competition ground should exist, so that each company should improve the technology to be the best. I think so.
Awesome. Makes a lot of sense, especially if we are looking to have, you know, a much better product in the market for our consumers or for our customers, I think, or I believe, competition is key. And there are various other areas whereby companies may as well join hands. But with regards to things to do with technology, as you've mentioned it, I think from that point of view, it's not really necessary, because at the end of it, we are looking on how to improve on a couple of, basically products that the end user will be able to enjoy in terms of the end result. Now, another thing, this one goes to you, Grayson. What do you think? Are there opportunities, especially in digitalization of solar rooftop? It could be in terms of looking at PV. It could be looking at inverters, controllers, storage, and stuff like that. I know there are quite a number of companies which are active in this, but do you think that there's still more openings or more opportunities, especially if we are looking at digitalization of rooftop solar? Brayson? You unmute just in case you are responding.
No, can you repeat? I think my network was not that
Sorry.
strong. Can you repeat
Okay.
your question? Yeah.
Yeah. My question is, do you think there are opportunities, especially in digitalization of rooftop solar? At the moment, we've got a number of companies who are, digitalizing key aspects, let's say, be it in PV, be it in storage, be it in, the inverters. Do you think there are opportunities in digitalizing or digitalization of rooftop solar? Do we still have more openings or opportunities?
Yes. Yeah, there is more opportunity. Technology actually keeps growing every day. Like
Yes.
nowadays, J Solar, we launch our N-type module. This is a new technology. We had deep blue technology. So technology keeps growing every day. For me, I think there is a potentiality. Also, the market keeps changing, and the world now is more. The world is moving digital. So for me, I think the manufacture, the digital perspectives is important for this sector to grow. So for me, 100%, I agree with you that every company is investing in technology. Now there is N-type technology is coming next year. So every company is developing the technology. So the digitalization of the technology is very important. I can say that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Augustus, there's something that you mentioned with regards to levelized cost of energy. What are the technological breakthroughs in achieving LCOE? Augustus?
Yes, like Bryson says, nowadays we can find many technological breakthroughs which are helping us to to achieving lower LCOE, like PERC technology, which helped us to improve PV panel efficiency. And nowadays we can find PV panels with HAT and can reach high technology, and essentially these two technology are playing in key role in company like GA Solar and other companies, because they are improving their own products, improving PV panels efficiency. When we improve PV panels efficiency, we are lowering LCOE, which is great. I think these two are the main technological breakthroughs in rooftop projects.
Okay, thank you for that. Really interesting, especially if we are looking at improving services or improving on products which the end user will be able to see in terms of results, how much effective they are. So that's quite important. I can also, I'm seeing that Patrick is back. So Patrick, we lost you for a couple of minutes, and we'd be more than happy if you are able to just quickly step in and give us your views on developers' perspective, and also the key challenges which are being faced in O&M of solar rooftop portfolio. Patrick?
Yes, thanks a lot. I'm sorry, I got disconnected. Internet challenges. So I think
Sorry about
my colleagues actually touched on most of the key challenges, but the way I see it when I start a project, I look around the business case of this project. So some of the challenges that I actually face are not necessarily around the cost or availability of equipment, but rather government policies in place. Most of these rooftop projects, the majority of this project they produce, there's always an excess at some point. And either during the day or during the night, it depends on when the customer consumes more, but you always have an excess. So we have some countries where you actually have this possibilities of actually selling or sharing the excess for a specific cost. And in Africa, at least in this region of ours, we don't really have those facilities where you actually have, where you feed the grid with the excess that you have. So, and some of this project, you're either obliged to either have a direct feed or because having a storage would be also very expensive if you don't have any way to generate some income out of it. So some company like here, let's say I'll take Rwanda as an example. You can't, for example, sell your excess to the local utility, for example. So some of our clients now decide to have a direct feed. You will have only, for example, the panels, and they decide to leave out the storage part, because when you combine the whole thing, it's extremely expensive and doesn't make sense business-wise. So those are some of the challenges, and this is one of the things that we're pushing, for example, the government to actually let individuals or companies that actually produce the excess to be able to share or sell the excess during those hours when they have excess. We have also challenges in terms of government policies where you're actually putting up a system that is at least closer to 1 megawatt. You can't actually do that without the government authorization or approval, or and some government don't actually allow to do this, except the local or national utility to do so. And the way, for example, we heading in Rwanda, such projects would be actually be seen or taken as a competition to the government, to the utility. Because now if you will be taking away consumption, and these are bigger players in the economy. If they decide to go green and get a nice solar system, these are millions that also the government utility will be losing. So to some of the government where, for example, production of electricity is not an issue, Currently, Rwanda produces enough, so they don't have. They actually produces more than what the demand needs. So although production is still expensive, but at least they produce enough. So in such ways now, if we take some of the factories away from the utility, who are paying millions and millions, now the utility sees it as a competition and as an issue. So we facing more challenges on the policy side rather than putting up a system in general. Although the challenges that my colleagues highlighted, yes, we have faced those in the past. We still facing challenges in terms of supply shortages currently due to COVID situation, but yeah, there's bigger challenges actually where you have demand, market is there, but because of lack of policy, for example, you can't sell.
Okay, okay. That was.
Can I chip in?
Yes, Bryson.
Yes, yes, yeah. I think another challenge it is financial challenge. For this larger solar project, this project has a lot of high upfront investment and the long payment terms. So for the financial institution, it's quite very difficult to invest in this kind of the big project. That's why this kind of project it is actually associated with a high interest rate. So I think another challenge is financial finance. It is quite also another challenge that we're experiencing in these solar projects.
Okay, thanks, Bryson. Really interesting, guys. Now, there's one key takeaway from the first session all the way into the second session, which quite a number of panelists have touched on or mentioned. What's this? Actually, there are two in terms of we are looking at pricing, but there's this major one, and it may as well act as a major barrier with our main focus being Central African countries like Cameroon, Central African Republic, Chad, Congo Republic, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, just to mention but a few. This is government policies. Government policies. Patrick, Bryson, and Augusto, with Central African countries in focus, do you think the countries that I've mentioned, or several countries within the Central African region, do you think the governments in place have made, a conducive environment for solar, rooftop, or commercial and industrial solar to thrive? Because one, we look at it from various angles, whereby they come up with regulations which will either make or break the industry. So my question is, and any one of you may as well just quickly jump on because of time also. Do you think we do have a conducive environment for solar rooftop to thrive, looking at it from a government perspective in terms of coming up with policies, or some of these policies are major hindrance for rooftop solar to thrive? Mugabo, Bryson, Augusto, anyone feel free to quickly jump in.
I'm gonna go first. There are many African countries with, I would say, a very hot rooftop market because these company already developed solid policies to help not only the entrepreneur but also the investors. Because the main drawback, I'm talking about Angola, when you think you're going solar, essentially rooftop project, which a majority are on-grid solutions, is about the payback in the investor perspective. So due to social and political situation, we in the beginning of this year, a government released the policies for self power generation, which will regulate the rooftop projects. But there are some issues to be solved before companies can feed the grid. But we are struggling with financial, because nowadays in Angola our local grid energy cost is very low. uh, it's it's below 0.05 USD
Wow,
uh,
wow,
a
that's
watt.
that's
So
very
when
low.
you think about going solar, is come on,
It doesn't
uh,
make economic
yeah,
sense going solar.
yeah, it's not worthy.
And
And
how reliable is your power from the utility company?
yeah, because of that, we were very excited about COP26, because uh, we think that carbon credits market can boost a lot PV solar around Africa, uh,
Okay.
and we think it's the easiest way, to boost this market around Africa, because as you know, we are struggling economically, most of African countries, and it's tough now to rise energy price, because it can impact people's lives, and it will take a few time, to things to go normal.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for that. Really interesting. Because you've actually mentioned something that reminded me of some other markets apart from Angola, whereby going solar at times might be a big challenge, especially if you're looking at the pricing factor. Mozambique being one of them, because we as at Renewables in Africa, actually we are engaging quite a number of CNI players within Mozambique. And it's more or less the same, whatever you've mentioned, looking at the Angolan market. Pricing is something that might be of a challenge, especially if you're looking to go solar. And secondly, maybe for multinationals, the main reason for going solar will be, as you've just mentioned, we recently have had COP26, whereby environmental issues, might be the major or the main drive towards going solar. So thanks for that. Guys, I'm looking, we are running out of time, and really sounds interesting. I wish we had more time for us to, just discuss this. And any parting shot, Patrick, before we wrap it up?
I think what we need is actually the awareness. Some of institution in this industry should push for, like Google and so on. So is the awareness to talk with the government to actually, because we have players on the market, like currently NG, Bryson highlighted the financial challenges. But like NG currently, we offer these systems on loan, so you can easily pay the system over 3 years. So this will make it more a bit affordable, I would say. But yes, the government policies needs to be in place, and to be actually also to encourage people to actually go green through these systems. So I think that's what we lack, because technology is evolving. We're coming up with good products, reliable products. So now it's time to actually have the right environment to use these products.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Patrick. Ladies and gentlemen, great. And thank you. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. It's been quite an insightful discussion, whereby we've been able to learn on various aspects within the industry, such as government policies and regulations, legal areas, technological, supply chain, and many more. You realize we've run out short of time, and I believe that Anand and his team will be able to, organize another forum like this one, whereby we can, discuss the same or more issues with regards to the industry. Thanks again for joining us today, and hopefully we'll be able to see you next time. Over to you, Anand.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much to all the experts for the insightful session, and a special thanks to Alyut sir for wonderfully managing the discussion. So with this, we have come to the end of this virtual event. Thank you everyone for extending your time and support for the event. A special thanks to our partners, JA Solar, for extending their immense support to organize this event. We promise you to come back with more exciting topics very soon. The floor is now open for networking. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.